Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Motor Trade Mentors podcast with David Gott of the Lovely Car Company and myself, Joe Betty of Barrow Motors. And today our guest is Mohammad Haque, who has been selling cars from home since about 2021 and has sent us an inquiry wanting to come on the podcast, see if he can get some advice from us. He's currently got three challenges that he's let us know about. One is sourcing his stock. Number two is he's put set up from driveway to forecourt, so I guess it's kind of scaling from where he is, selling from home to getting a business premises and selling that way. And number three is sourcing spare parts as well, which is probably something all of us spend a lot more time than we want to. So thank you so much for coming on, Mohammed. Give us a little rundown of yourself and how you've got into car sales.
Basically, I doing business for 5 years since like last 2016, and then there is downturn, so I had to shut down my business and looking for other things just to get on. Afterwards, I have done various jobs, and in 19, I got a bus license, which is D license, and joined Stagecoach. Afterwards, I'm just thinking, can I go up, develop my career? So in order to do that, I try to get a CPC, Passenger Transport Manager CPC course, which I done and passed 2020. And then initially I was looking for setting up coach company. Now, when I passed the course, it's open book course exam. And after when exam question came, couple of vehicle maintenance issues, which I really don't understand, even though I have been over a year that time, and kind of struggling to answer those questions. Eventually, I passed the course, but in real life, when I passed, then realize in real life, who's gonna teach me those things like torque, vehicle brake test, roller brake test, suspension mechanism, those kind of things. So I decided to go to college and starting to learn how the mechanism work. So I go and they say, oh no, you can't go straight away on coach mechanic thing. You have to pass the basic mechanic course. So I joined local college and learn a little bit, and then this is the part where I get really interested on car business, how I see those things. So because at the age I can't go to garage to learn anything because every like other family commitment and other thing. So in that process, I think, okay, why I not try to sell, buy defective cars, doing a little bit overall makeup and then selling. How is that way I can learn a little bit more than in garage. So I started doing this, and since then is rolling up. Basically, this is the brave introduce myself, and since then I've been about selling about 18 cars so far. All of these are like first going like engine problem or something, MOT fail, those kind of cars I got, and doing up about 2 cars I cannot fix. Those I have to send to scrapyard.
So going back to what you're saying, basically you've got your coach license. You were looking at becoming a coach sort of maintenance manager, which meant you had to do mechanical knowledge, and you ended up doing the car mechanical courses, and then decided that you'd make some money by fixing up the cars and selling them. Does that sound about right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So, is that still what you're doing? You're buying cars that have got mechanical problems and you're fixing them and then selling them?
Yeah, it's correct. On this other side, I have a little job on a coach because it's as a coach driver. Also, I'm a, a registered national HGB instructor, CPC instructor. So on the this side, I have other side, but I'm trying to get minimize my other side and maximize here to doing cars.
Yeah,
I feel is quite enjoy those
yeah.
kind of thing.
You got more things going on than I have, Mohammed. You need
Yeah.
to
Focus.
focus in, yeah, focus in on your one thing. So you want to do your car sales. So I guess the first obvious thing would be trying to start buying stuff that doesn't need as much mechanical work. It's great that you've got the skills, but it depends how quickly you can work through them and how much more profit you think that makes you. What sort of things are you buying? What are the sort of problems and how long do you think it takes you to fix them?
First one is Mini Cooper S, and since then, uh, probably I sold six at least. All of
Okay.
them have problem. All of them came to me different, various variety of problem, and after sale, nothing return. Basically, no one return or
Yeah.
calling me, banging on door.
That's good. Did you have to change the engine on the Minis then, or?
First one, I had to change engine, and then realize is the engine I got is not that much up to standard. So later on, I avoid those kind of issues, rather like constant in cooling fan running or some oil leaks.
And did you make good profit out of the Minis?
First one I did quite a good loss, about £1,000. That's the whole thing. I'm that time I decided no, I'm not going to let it go. As a mechanic, I have to learn something. What happened is basically bought new engine, put because of first doing up cars. This one I doing everything buying as a retail buy parts and these and that.
Been a bit of a learning experience then, and these things cost more
Mm.
to fix than you realize. This is why I think it's great that you got the skills. I think if you try and buy stuff that doesn't have problems but should still have a margin in it,
Yeah,
most things have a little problem, and that's where your
Mm.
skills will help you. But if you want to sell enough to make a profit, while you were off, we were just discussing, how the costs ramp up in this business, and then you can sell lots of cars, but it still costs you lots of money. You don't make as much money as you might think. So costs can run away from you, is what I'm trying to say. So if you can buy something that doesn't need work, or maybe just needs very minimal work, the mechanical things that you can do, that will serve you. I know there's some people who run businesses where they buy cars just from like Copart that need body panels changing and things done with the engine or fix the engine or those sorts of things, and that's all they do. But I think that only really works as like a one-man band or a two-man team type thing, and it's a job. Whereas I think all of us are aiming to have a business that kind of like, if we want to take a couple of weeks off, it will still run itself and it will still make money, is the plan. And that's tricky, I think, when it relies on you fixing the stuff. So you need to, our usual advice, get down the auction, see if you can buy something cheap that runs and drives and has MOT. You can
Yeah.
check it over and make sure it seems good. But yeah, don't give yourself
don't
too
buy
much.
minis.
Yeah, don't buy minis. Yeah, that's rule number one.
Yeah. But I think Joe's right there. Like, even if you buy cars that haven't got problems, you're still going to have problems, but that's going to be, your weight in gold, because then you can fix them quickly, you can service them quickly, MOT, prepare them quickly, and get them ready for sale. So yeah, like what Joe always says, you don't want to be buying work, and if you're changing engines on cars, like chap we had on the other week, and he's got a garage. He said it can take 3 months to fit an engine. That's a quarter of a year gone on one car.
Yeah, and
So,
also I don't have any equipment. Like first engine I replace. with bare hand. One of my friend helping, but there is no crane, no ramp, nothing out there. It's just outside my driveway. So it was quite daunting.
Yeah.
And
And that car, you said you made £1,000 loss on it, but I bet if you added up your time and worked out at what you get paid
Exactly.
as a bus driver, you'd be crying in a corner.
yeah,
So yeah, it's one
but
of those. Which
Go
again,
on,
if you do
Joe.
it as a sort of sideline hobby type thing and you really enjoy it, great. But
Yeah.
it doesn't make sense as a business.
yeah, that's the thing. Now I'm quite focused on what to buy and what the minimum, as you mentioned, minimum work done, like rocker cover change or something, like not severe, but it's like here and there. Like last week I got another Mini, unfortunately is oil leaking, and just what it's saying is misfiring, but when I realized, I opened the rocker cover and see is minimum work, probably 2 hours, everything, and now fixed that up and put up for sale.
All I'm going to say is probably what I'm picking up is that you're probably, even when I say try and find stuff that doesn't have work or minimal work, in your head you're thinking, if I buy something that's got a disclosed problem, I know it's got a problem and I need to fix it, that you will get it cheaper and therefore there might be more profit and because you can fix it. My personal experience would be, or my
Yeah.
thoughts would be, that if someone says it's got some kind of problem, however much cheaper it seems because of the problem, I guarantee you it would cost you more than it would to just buy one that didn't have a problem.
Yeah.
It always
Yeah,
develops, and one problem's hiding another problem,
Yeah.
and those sorts of things. Someone will always say, "Oh yeah, it's got a bit of or it's got a misfire or whatever, so you can't really
So,
drive it."
it's
And
minor thing.
what ends up happening is you fix the misfire at something really simple, then you realise that the gearbox is knackered.
I'm saying is like is yes, if like doing small job, yeah, couple of bolts removing, and when I like refitting, probably one bolt is cracked or like broken inside, and ended up with paying more money. What
mm,
what
Yeah.
I supposed to do as a beginning? Like I cannot say I'm very good at, but it's learning.
you always learn the hard way in this job. That is the problem. The good thing with you, I mean, like when I first started, I didn't even know what a slipping clutch was. I didn't know what a gearbox, a dodgy gearbox sounded like. This is your advantage. When you go at the auction, you will know if there's a slipping clutch, if there's this, there's that. You've got to use that to your advantage because you do know what things can go wrong with a car. Where there's plenty of people that are like me that are green. Like I'm not green now, but back in the day, and that's what you've got to use to your advantage. But I know what Joe's saying there, like you're saying, oh, once you start buying work and all this stuff. But however, how many times, Joe, have you bought a car with a slipping clutch and it has just actually been the clutch that's needed changing? They're the ones that I quite like.
Yeah, if you know it's a simple job like that, yeah. I think it would pay to keep an eye out for cars that have got the simple problem. Someone's like, "Oh, the clutch is slipping," because then you can go and test drive it and make sure that that definitely is all that it is. But what I would say is fixing cars up to sell them is obviously one of the things you've said here is kind of like scaling up from doing it on your driveway to having a forecourt. Fixing cars is obviously labor intensive. So if you want to scale that, there's only so many cars you can fix in a day, which means you need to employ other people. When you're paying someone else, it doesn't make profit anymore. You think, oh, I'm just doing it like Matt was saying on a previous episode when he was trying to, still fix cars to make a profit. He would say he was just basically the profit he would make would cover the wages of the person that was doing it, and other than that, there wasn't much benefit. So I think the only way you can scale it is buy stuff that looks like it's got no problems. The good news is you'll still get to use your mechanical skills because even everything that looks like it's got no problems has got some problems.
Yeah,
There'll always be something you need to fix. So you still get to
Yeah.
work on your skills. And even now, I'll buy something. I bought a car just the other day from BCA with an assured report, and everything was all green. It's all perfect. I'm like, great, this is a car I can just stick straight in the forecourt. And I go and pick it up, and the turbo sounds like a dentist drill. It still drives, but it's now the turbo needs changing. So you'll still get those sorts of opportunities to hone your mechanical skills for profit. I think you need to switch
Yeah,
mindset to sales and
Yeah.
car sales rather than mechanical
doing
repair.
yeah.
Yeah, that's right.
Where are you buying your cars at the moment?
Mainly on Facebook and Gumtree. Just bought one from Manham.
Okay.
But experience, as you mentioned, is my experience was good, because on the way back I heard big noises coming from exhaust. So seeing this exhaust pipe is broken completely, is just they're just tagged just for the auction purpose. My planning is like in December time, I wanted to get upgrade, because if that's the way I'm doing at the moment, and the doing as I mentioned, if I'm doing this, is take ages to going forward. It's not gonna happen in a year's time. But if I scale up a little bit, yeah, it's kind of what I feel is it need to be more, rather, as I mentioned, more sales rather than doing fixing and uh,
Yeah, that's
selling.
the way you'll scale it quicker. That would definitely be the quicker way to scale it. And I guess by the sounds of what you've been fixing up, minis and things, that maybe you're sort of buying stuff on the cheaper scale. Auctions, auction cars at that sort of price are probably always going to be a gamble, and you've always probably. I think what you need to always factor in is probably at least a few £100s worth of repairs, even if it looks okay.
Mm-hmm.
Because, like you say, you start driving it and the exhaust falls off, and it's got a wheel bearing that needs doing that you couldn't hear in the auction or something.
I mean, Mohammed, I mean, how many cars have you got at the minute in stock?
About 6.
6. Oh, well, that's good then. So you've got plenty in stock. And what cars are they?
2 of them are Mazda. One
Yeah,
Mazda 2. One is Mini. One Peugeot 308, which I
yeah,
bought from one of my colleague, which I should not. And one Suzuki Alto,
yeah.
obviously red one, as amateur buyer.
Where have you got them? Have you got them advertised at the minute? Are they all advertised, prepped, ready to go?
Yeah, on Auto Trader, I gave 4 of them on Auto. I deal with only Auto Trader at the moment. I don't do any Facebook or Gumtree ad.
Right.
I don't know how, but normally these all 15 to 18 vehicle I sold is kind of I put on private seller as in Auto Trader. I don't sell often, like quite within week. No, never. But what happened is, like, even 1 or 2 people came, test drive, they like it, they just straightway take away. So in that way, all those inquiry I can cut off.
I guess what you're saying is Auto Trader probably gives you better leads. You'll get if you do put it on Facebook Marketplace, I think you probably have some success. But you will get a lot of inquiries. But then if you're currently doing 2 jobs as well, you probably
Is
don't have time for inquiries, all the Facebook inquiries that you get. Yeah, it's tricky. I would. How much money do you think you've spent on cars that you've got in stock currently?
It's about seven-ish,
Okay.
7 to 8 thousand altogether.
Seeing as you're doing this on the side of 2 other jobs, I'd be very tempted to put that money into like 2 cars.
Yeah.
Better quality, less headache, more likely to sell really quickly, need less work, and maybe in like a nicer type of customer, and maybe 2 or 3 cars. But if you've got 6 cars in stock and they all cost you about £1,000, that's 7 or 6, well, how many cars it was, opportunities for like a lot of stuff to go wrong. And the more cars you got like that sat on the driveway, the more likely that it'll, the battery's going to go flat or a tire will go flat when someone comes to view it. Personally, I would try and buy two cars that were like £3,000 each and try and sell them for £5,000 after you've done your bits and pieces. I don't know about you, Dave. I don't know what you think, but I just
No,
think
I think you're right. What I'd do is I'd get, I know I say it all the time, stuff like I'd get a couple of half decent Ford Focuses, or that bread and butter sort of stuff that you know is going to sell, and you can prep it really nice, and you can service, MOT. The car needs to sell itself, because as well you're doing it from home as well, so you're up against it. So your car has got to be out of the box. It's got to be really nice. And I think if you're selling like a Ford Focus, a VW Golf in the £3,000 to £4,000 range, your phone's always going to go. And like Joe says, especially with you having other jobs and whatnot, you're just going to lose. You're just going to lose the desire to sell the cars, because you're going to have too much on your plate. And as well, like Joe's saying there, the more stuff you buy, if you've got a pitch and you're not doing all this other work, then yeah, buy as many cars as you can. But there's only so many hours in the day, and you'll still learn. Like Joe says, there'll still be plenty of stuff going wrong with Ford Focuses and stuff like that, but you'll have more time to prep them to a better standard.
just because you've got the two other jobs, I think you could then, if you had two cars, you could put them on Facebook Marketplace, which I think is a good place to sell them. I think they will sell. You'll have time to do it. When you've got six cars, all with, is this still available? Is this still available coming through? It's going to drive you loopy.
Yeah.
I think obviously the goal, hopefully for yourself, if you want to scale and get onto a forecourt, would be to start going up in values of cars, like nicer quality of car, which I think you can already do, but it just means you have less cars. You could have two there for sale and one that you're getting ready to prep. So you've always got two for sale, but they're of a quality that I think hopefully will keep your efforts and all that sort of stuff down. But that's just my thoughts.
So it's just to interrupt. If I selling two cars, will I be survive?
You've got two other jobs, so I hope you're still surviving.
Yeah.
And this is like
No, no. Is those I love driving. Is no question about that. But thing is, if I wanted to, like, if I do something I wanted to do properly, that sort of thing in my mind. Like, for example, when I started bus driving, I don't stay. I could stay for 10, 12 years, but within next year, I got the CPC, passenger transport manager license, which normally tend like people getting after 8 to 10 years after. If I scale up, will I be survived with 2 or 3 cars? Or
how much profit are you making on the cars that you're buying at the moment? So say you buy a car for £1,000,
two and a half or 2,000
is
max?
what you sell it for. Okay. So from six of those, you could be, let's say you're making about 5,000. I think if you had two cars and you've reduced your workload by 60%, I still think you could make 4,000 out of them. For reducing your workload by 60,000, you've only lost, I don't know, my maths is terrible now. I'm just thinking of your time because you're doing other things. And I know how problematic like £1,000 cars are. And I think if you've got those two cars then, and they're two really desirable cars, like Dave says, Ford Focuses, your Mazdas, whatever, things that you think are going to be popular, and you can then put them on Facebook Marketplace, because as much as we all hate Facebook Marketplace, it will work. People will be, messaging for them. I think you could do that with two cars, and you could turn them quicker, but a better quality of car than trying to have six and do them all via Auto Trader, where you're paying the fees as well for advertising on Auto Trader. But I don't know your area. I don't know your market. I don't know the cars exactly that you've got. So
Yeah,
if it
it's
was me,
my son. I'm living in Stockport,
okay,
which is
Great
not
area.
far from probably most of main dealer is surrounding within 2 miles.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Also, can mention here is like High Peak Autos is just down the road. It's not far from my place. So is surrounding is lots of like if someone coming that another question I wanted to ask you guys later on. Is surrounding is like I believe is 25-30 showroom itself have within stock, but like Porsche, all branded name. If I wanted to upscale my sales, like if I wanted to sell 6 to 8 cars in a month, uh, is it is it doing on warehouse or is it like
I don't
um,
think it matters. I don't think it matters as long as you've got space to put the cars and you've got somewhere the customers can sit down and do paperwork with you. Even if you stand up at a counter and do paperwork, I don't think it really matters. Um, you don't need a fancy showroom, and I definitely
No.
wouldn't recommend it at the moment. If you want to sell 6 to 8 cars, it's going to be hard work regardless of where you operate
Yeah.
from, because if you want to, if you think of what you're doing now, maybe a couple of cars a month or a few cars a month, you double it, but then you've got your rent to pay, and then your electricity at that place, and the internet, and the water, and whatever else. You need to be making a bigger jump. You need to be like, right, we need to sell at least 10 a month.
at
Um,
least 10?
so I think the natural step for most people is to get a unit or something where you've got a bit of indoor space and some parking, nothing fancy. Go and I mean, there's a lovely showroom in the next town over from here that'd be amazing. It's like an old main dealer type place, big glass fronted showroom with offices inside. And it's got a workshop on the side, but it's £65,000 a year to rent. And I just think it doesn't. I could probably put twice as many cars as I've got on there, but I wouldn't make any more money. So why would I? So I would concentrate on, if you've got space for 6 at home, I would concentrate for now, for the next year, on upping the values and quality, because you're starting at a really low level. With all respect, if you're buying cars for £1,000, you're starting at a low level. You've got a lot of leveling up you can do at home. The fact is, if you've got a stock of 6 and you've got them all prepared and or whatever, you can sell 6. You could sell 10 in a month, 100%. If you're using Facebook Marketplace, you could sell 10 from home. 2 times stock turn in a month is 100% doable. It's a lot easier at that level than it is. You want to start trying to stock Porsches and Ferraris and stuff. You ain't going to sell, you know, 10 of them a month.
That's right, Joe. You're on the money. Absolutely spot on. But Mohammed, if you want to sell 10 consistently a month, though, Joe, you need like 15 in stock, don't you?
Mm.
If you're doing it the auto trader way. However, if you're doing it the Facebook way, where you're just turning over like £200-300 worth of profit, you can do 15, 20. I know people that do 15 to 20 cars, and there's a chap I know, he's got a little pitch and he's got 10 cars on there, and he reckons he does like 20, 25 cars a month. But he's on Facebook, he's not an auto trader, he's selling them cheaper chips. So you need to make the decision, right? What do I want to do here? Do I want to go just sell everything with a £200-300 profit, or do I want to sell good cars that I can stick on auto trader with £1,000 to a £1,500 margin across them? That's the choice you've got to make. That's a decision you've got to make, and you've got to give it like a good 3 years maybe to build it up. What do you reckon, George? Do you think
Yeah,
that's
yeah,
a bit
no,
too?
yeah, I agree. I know, yeah, definitely. I think you can, with the Facebook model, you can definitely turn stuff over. And do you know what's funny for me is that we're here talking about Mohammed's cars, and I'm like, you're obviously at like the low end of the market. It makes me just makes me think of how far I've come, really, because at one stage I would go to the auctions and I would buy cars for 100 quid, which was the
Mm.
lowest bid that you could make at auction, and the fees were 85 quid. We'd drive them back to our pitch. So it was 185 quid all in. And I would just put them on Facebook Marketplace pretty much as they are, and it would be like Picasso's, Golfs, Kia things. and we put them up for like 600 quid. So we were clearing 400 quid out of it, and you do six, you do 6 of them in a day. But
And you look at now, we've got all these nice cars, and
yeah,
some months we don't make any money.
yeah,
Some months, like last month, we lost 4 grand. So,
yeah.
Mohammed, if you lost 4 grand this month, it'd cripple you, wouldn't it? You'd be like, oh
Yeah.
my God. But I think what Joe's trying to say is it's great, isn't it, selling the cheaper cars in a way?
If I
It,
had all the time in the world, that is exactly what I would sell, because I know you can buy a car for £1,000, and like Mohammed says, you can sell it for 2.5. There's no cars that me and Dave are selling that we're getting 150% return on investment.
exactly.
None.
But
You might.
it's very hard to find. Basically, it's hard to find. Very, very hard. It's not easy. You like have to look around.
Yeah,
Not all cars like within 100,000 mileage, within below 100,000. Little
yeah.
bit history, little bit all thing, low owner, like
What I would
previous
say,
people.
Mohammed, is Stockport. Is there any auctions that are actually local that you could go to?
Yeah, like local auctions. Do you know what? You need to be going to the independent auctions.
The
The one
smaller scale.
I know there's what I mean. Wrexham's not too far from you. There
No,
used to be
is yeah,
quite a
yeah,
good local auction there at near
yeah,
Wrexham. They're
yeah.
the ones you need to go to.
I saw one auction place in Wrexham where I used to give a CPC training. It's just down the road, but I never inquire over there. I don't know how looks like.
That's your job for the day.
Yeah.
What I was going to say, Mohammed, is that when I started out, I was very much like you. I wasn't trying to fix cars up, but I was buying everything from Facebook Marketplace and Gumtree. That was for the first year, and even I was looking through eBay listings, and I would spend loads of time scouring for cars like that to buy. And I'm amazed that I did it for a year and made money. Because
Yeah.
when I finally did set up my auction account, and like I say, you could go in there and I would buy like 20 cars in a day because I could get them for like 100 to 500 quid. And I was just like, this is easy. I just sell them as is. Do you know what I mean? It's like a
Yeah,
part
yeah.
exchange to clear. It is what it is. And it was just like literally like a numbers game, just churning them over.
Mm.
But you do get a lot of problems with it. But yeah, I mean, you're at the stage where you can do it,
Do you, Joe, do you remember that? No reserve cars on
Yeah.
eBay. Yeah.
Oh
That's
yeah,
what
that was Trade Centre Wales, wasn't it?
is that what it was? I
So
don't think it was.
no, sorry,
No
seven.
reserve cars was down south somewhere.
There was 7 day cars,
Yeah, I
which was
remember that
lovely.
one.
They auctioned
Yeah,
that. That was Trade Centre Wales, and before they started sending them all to auction themselves, they used to do it themselves basically.
yeah.
And then
Because
yeah,
no reserve cars, he just used to buy them from the auction and then stick them on eBay.
they still do it. I've bought a couple of cars from there.
Yeah, but what a great, what a great model.
Yeah.
We got into this because we loved buying cars. And I remember looking at him thinking, oh, that's what I want to do. I just want to do that. I just want to buy them and just sell them, like just get a little bit of profit out of them.
What's crazy with that guy or that company or whatever is sometimes, because I'd be looking at their cars and you look at had cars for sale on eBay before they'd even bought them at BCA. What a
Yeah,
great model, because if he got someone who bid up to, let's say, 10,000 on that car before it actually went
exactly.
through auction, he'll quite happily spend whatever because he knows he's got a buyer for it already.
Yeah, yeah,
It's
yeah, yeah, yeah,
brilliant
yeah,
in a way, but
yeah, yeah.
incredibly stressful as well.
Exactly. There's no easy way to make money, is there? It just takes persistence. That's all it is. It's just persistence, Mohammed. And if I were you, I'd be aiming to get up to 20 cars. And the other week, I went to Washington auction at Mannheim at Washington. And I bet the chap's watching it. And he came up to me, this trader, and he's like, you and Joe, you need to tell Joe you can make loads of profit out of these cheap cars. He says, I bought a Ford C-Max power shift for 500 quid and I've sold it for like 3 grand. And I'm like, I know, yeah, you can do it. It's not a problem. However, how many power shifts have we bought that have like shit themselves And you know, but what he was trying to get at, he's done it for 40 years, and he's just sold cheap cars. And he said he's got 60 cars now, and he just still keeps churning them out, churning them out. So we always say on here, Mohammed, like, you've just got to get your stock levels up as high as possible, and then you will make a living out of it. And whilst you're working your socks off, a pitch will come up because you're in Stockport. You're near Manchester, second city of England. There's loads of places up there going to come up, and then once you've got 20 cars on your pitch, you'll be away. You'll be at the races then.
And another limitation I have is not many cars. Even though it's been 3 years, but what I try to do once I fix one car, I try to go only for that car or that year, that model. That's kind of sticking to so many Minis or Mazdas. I feel comfortable when I know the car. Like, for example, Ford Fiesta, I drive couple of, but I never bought my own personally use any Ford Focus or Fiesta or any sort of cars. So I really don't know about the engine or what sort of customer base, those kind of thing.
Again, getting to the auctions, you get a feel of who's after what and what's really popular. You see everyone pile around like the Ford Focuses, Ford Fiestas, because they are easy set. How do you describe it? They're like, I don't know. They're really popular, but you won't have huge margins in them. But
Yeah.
you'll always sell them. So it depends on which way you want to do it. If you're happy to buy them and have a 500 quid margin and just sell it really quickly and probably not have too many problems, then that's great. Whereas me and Dave, we probably like, well, we want to have at least a couple of thousand these days because of all our overheads and everything. But what I would say is, again, if you want to scale, I think having a niche, like you said, if you had a niche for minis, is great, and it pays off long term, real long term, years and years of establishing yourself as the person that does minis, the place you go to for minis, or the place like Theo from Bowen's Garage, the place you go to for really low mileage cars. Once you've done it for years, people know you're the place and you've kind of built your own market for that stuff. Scaling quick from where you are now, just whatever you can get your hands on that's got a profit in it, and the variety will keep you busy. The problem with niching into one thing is it can go really quiet on those cars for a month, and you think, oh God, I'm never going to make any money. But if you've got a Ford, a Mazda, an old BMW or something, or one of them's going to keep you ticking over. And I think just whatever's got profit in at the minute.
That's right. Keep the momentum going.
And don't worry too much about the engines or what's in them, and you don't know too much about them, because you're a smart man, Mohammed, and you'll figure it out if you have to. But hopefully you won't have to. Hopefully you won't ever have to touch the engine, other than maybe chucking, a new oil filter and oil in it.
It's like mini wise, like if you go to like any online platform, you can see is so many complaint and these. Yes, I agree with these things absolutely 100%. But thing is, minis, I can handle those things, and it's keep going. It's like second, third, fourth.
No, you'll always sell a mini. You will always sell a mini. You'll always sell, and if you can buy the ones with the chains that are brought, I know. So, I know I'm going against what you said in the beginning, Joe, but if you can niche.
If you know them and you're confident with them, the thing is, you say people go online and people complain about them, the same as they complain about Range Rovers. What other cars do they complain about? All of them, really. But we'll say like EcoBoosts, for example.
Yeah, I use lots of them.
3 of the most popular cars for people to buy. People will fall over themselves for them. So if you can, so for me, I buy Range Rovers and Land Rovers, and I just try and buy them sensibly, because although they may be a bit risky, I know they'll sell quickly and there's a big margin in them. But other people won't touch them. That's great for me because it's a slimmer market. If people in the trade are avoiding minis because they know they've got chain problems and head gasket problems or whatever, but you can fix them, great.
Yeah.
Because they will still sell and they'll be really popular, especially if you say done the timing chain, done the head gasket or whatever.
Exactly.
Exactly.
It's like I always say about trophy cars on the A1. Have you seen them, Joe?
No.
trophy car. Oh, so he just sells MGs. That's all he sells.
Right. Oh,
You
you
know
might have said, yeah.
the convertible MGs. So he
Yeah.
just buys them up off anyone because all the head gaskets have went on them. And then because also as well, because he's got so many MGs on the forecourt, when he buys one, he can rob stuff off other ones. He's got donor cars there. He does the head gasket. He puts a clutch in them, and then everyone knows that that is the place to buy an MG from. And the problem being in Stockport is you are up against so many other traders. You're just up against everyone. So yeah, for me, I like a niche, Joe. I do. I think
Yeah,
Mohammed
yeah.
should. I
No,
think he should maybe go into minis.
well, yeah, you could. Don't get me wrong. I just think I wouldn't. If you're going to go into that niche, that's great. I would. If you've got 6 spaces at the moment, fine. If you want to have 3 or 4 of them being minis, but still have something else just to.
Keep it
to
ticking.
When I've really niched before, I had like 8 smart cards in stock at once because we sold a few and they were quite popular, and we've got all the motorhomes and everything that come here, and I thought people are going to want to buy them to tow behind their motorhome. And for some reason, the demand for smart cars has just gone, and there's 8 of these cars there, and you're just like, I wish I'd had a variety of other stuff. So, but
um,
I
maybe
know.
I'm projecting my fears onto you, Mohammed. So if you're having success with it,
yeah. But
then
good thing is no one return feel confident to selling to
yeah,
customer. Like
Yeah.
if one or two coming back within 3 months, then probably I wouldn't touch. Probably
yeah.
I'll go somewhere. Is like, but those six of them I sold. None of them had ever complained. One is down the road basically, but never come to me. I told if you have any problem, come down. I'll sort this out. But never came.
Which is what I would do then in that case. I would look for Mini Coopers and Mini Cooper S's and whatever at auction that are presenting as being perfectly fine, because all the other traders and everyone will avoid them. I think
Exactly.
they're really cool. I think they're great. I think they're great fun, but everyone else will avoid them because they'll be expecting there to be problems.
Yeah.
As long as you pay a price where you're expecting there to be problems, you can probably find an endless supply of Mini Coopers, Mini Cooper S's, and things. And at least 50% of them are actually going to be fine.
Yeah.
But people are going to be scared of them. So you're going to have some that you're going to have to fix, and some that you're going to turn up and you're going to check them over, and they're going to be great. But you'll be selling them alongside the ones you've already fixed. And you kind of say, we're a bit of a mini specialist, so we've checked it all over, and the timing chain guides all seem
Yeah.
good, and there's no leaks and whatever, and there'll be like your red letter days that you get a real bonus on.
And if they're all like 3-4 grand, I mean, what about you, Joe? If I've had a mini that's 3 or 4 grand, even with like 100,000 miles on it, it always flies out. They're
Yeah,
such good sellers.
Yeah,
yeah.
it's popular. I believe is even though is so many complain or these and mechanical wise, not many garages taken minis for repairing. I believe.
They can be probably. I mean, like if you want need, they quite often fail MOTs on the front subframe bushes, and that's a whole subframe out and all
Yeah.
that stuff.
Corroded.
Yeah, and obviously, if you're a customer, these are the people who are leaving the bad reviews. If you're a customer, you're going to be like, "Oh God, it cost me more than I expected to have that repaired." If you're the garage, you're probably this is like an It's just 2 bushes you want to change, and you've got to take the whole subframe off. So you're irritated with them as well. Everyone goes online to moan about stuff, don't they? Very few people go online to say, "What a great car this is! I love it. I've had one for ages and no problems." So
Every car. Just don't. It's like, as men, when there's something wrong with us and you go on Google and like, oh my God, I'm dying. That's it. It's over. Like, just, I don't even look at when people are like, Tesla's, oh my God, the battery's going to blow up. It's going to do this, it's going to do that. They're probably the most reliable car I've ever bought, ever.
yeah.
So just don't go online.
Well, yeah. I mean, yeah. You use it to your advantage. Like the more people moan about Land Rovers, or like when
Exactly.
this whole Land Rover thing was coming around, and they're saying the insurance is going up, and they catch fire and all this sort of stuff, and the prices dropped, and I was like, great, I'll buy them
Exactly.
because you'd be able to go through my YouTube channel. It's like my claim to fame. I said these prices are going to go back up again, so I'm going to buy them up, and they did. So Yeah.
Yeah, there
Use
is
that to your
always.
advantage.
Yeah,
I mean, if I was you and I'm trading from home, you can get all your servicing parts off eBay and get them to you in 2 days.
Yeah.
Probably what I would do. Or there's things. Well, again, I guess things like I've never used it, but like there's Auto Dock, isn't there, which people seem to use.
I never use.
And so they're quite good prices, but I think they're slow delivery. Well, the other thing is you could go into, like, say your smaller motor factors in your area. There will be a,
Exactly.
there will be a family run motor factors, or if not, go to like the likes of Mill or whatever. Even though they're like a national company, they seem to be a bit run like branch by branch, and they want your business. They've all got targets, and if you go in and you say, "Look, I'm a motor trader. I'm going to come in here and probably buy 4 service kits each month and." 50 litres of oil and all that sort of stuff. I'm not asking for the price that QuickFit are paying up the road, but can you do me a bit of a deal and just compare the prices against Euro car parts and see what you're getting? Or strike up a deal with a garage, find a garage somewhere and say, look, could you order parts? Or I don't know, there's 101 ways you could do it. But yeah, I mean, Euro car parts, I think they're usually quite. Euro car parts have got a bad reputation for being. I don't know whether they're cheap or they're not, but basically, traders like me or Dave, who are well established, will pay the same price as the retail customers do, which everyone finds really irritating
Yeah.
because you
Yes,
feel,
and they're quite expensive sometimes. Same parts you can get online a little bit cheaper.
So what we do is we have 4 motor factors that we use, and it's a bit of a pain in the bum, but we just ring round all of them, like
yeah,
discs and pads. We'll ring. There's one PCS, Auto Supplies, Euro Car Parts, and Minor Firm, and we'll just ring round because with discs and pads, some will be like 200 quid, and other ones you might get for 80 quid.
yeah,
So it's just that, isn't it? It's just
yeah,
searching for the best deal.
yeah. And all those places, you'll be able to sign up as like a cash customer. So you won't necessarily have to prove that you're a trader or whatever. And you can phone around and they'll all want your business. That's why, like Dave says, we do exactly the same. We'll phone up GSF. They'll say the brakes are 200 quid. You phone up Mill and they say, oh, they're 220. And you're like, well, GSF said they can do them for 200. They're like, all right, we'll do them for 180. And you're like, no worries,
Yeah,
sold.
yeah,
Yeah.
that's it. Yeah,
That's just how it works. You've got to phone around because when you don't, which we haven't in the past, and you just keep phoning them, and then the parts turn up, bloody, you don't even ask them. You're like, can you send me out some distant pads, and they'll send them out. And then you look at it, you're like, how much? Then you phone the other
yeah.
branch, and they're like half the price. So
That's
there's,
so
there's
true.
there's
I
no,
need to get on top of that, Joe. I need to get on top of that because I'm
yeah.
sure the lads just order them,
You
and
get
I'm
it in
like,
your head that, yeah. I mean, I have implemented, whether people follow it or not, that we need minimum of 2 quotes for parts.
mm,
Sounds stupid, but the prices get away from you, don't they? If it's 100 quid
mm,
more on each job and you're doing 5 of them a day,
exactly. Yeah,
it's
all
ridiculous.
adds up. It all adds up. James ordered some discs the other day, and they were like 300 quid, and I absolutely like. I was like, "What the bloody hell have you bought these for? 300 quid?" And he's like, "You can't get them." He's like, "Honestly, they're the only ones." And I'm like, "I don't believe you. I don't believe you." So I rang everyone round, and they were the cheapest ones for
Yeah,
300 quid.
yeah.
Yeah. So
Yeah,
Again, nothing's easy. It takes a lot of effort. So
no,
yeah.
it's no
yeah,
easy way.
phoning around and building relations and yeah. Uh,
No.
Um, we are knocking on a bit for time,
Yeah.
Mohammed. So what else? What's your last main question you want to ask us?
Okay. Is another important is when the part one and budget tires.
Hmm.
These how you like. I have my own theory, but I wanted to get in like info. What you like preference? If all cars you wanted to do the budget tires or part one tires, which one you prefer?
We have a part worn tire place that used to be just up the road from my garage where I used to sell the cheap cars and whatever. And we did used to use their part worns, and a lot of the time they were really good. But
But
they weren't really any cheaper than a budget tire, and I think it's probably a
Yeah.
legal nightmare. So just do not do part worn tires. Just
Yeah.
Because the other thing as well is if you want a Part 1 tyre legally, then they need to like re-stamp it and put a thing on it that kind of certifies that it's been checked and pressure tested and blah, 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 blah. And they
Yeah.
weren't doing that. And probably wherever you're going to get it from, they aren't doing that because then again, it makes it unprofitable for them.
Yeah.
So just stick with budget tyres. Just stick with
Yeah.
budget tyres.
They're
Yes,
cheap enough. They're cheap enough, aren't they? Cheap
Yeah.
enough budget
They
tyres.
really are as cheap these
And
days. And
Part 1s,
most,
there's always something wrong. They've always got a bloody nail in them Part 1 tyres.
yeah. Or they
There's
look
always
great
some-
until they inflate them and then they're cracking and,
Yeah.
you know, the only time I'd recommend that is if you've got something really niche. Say you had some old Porsche and it had these really crazy wide tires, and you just needed one. You could probably find one on eBay that matched, and
Yeah.
maybe it had a similar amount of tread and that sort of stuff. I can understand why you would do that, but yeah, just again, start out how you want to be. If you picture yourself in 5 years' time, Mohammed, with your pitch and whatever, with your cars that are selling for 10 grand, would you be putting Part 1 tires on rather than just putting a couple of budget?
no, it's kind of as far as I'm done the commercial vehicle things. Like nowadays, it's illegal to have 10 years old tires. You can't reuse or anything. Is probably is completely banned for the operator to get now, but still is on a smaller cars. Still, they are selling on these. I'm not fond of budget Part 1 tires, but I don't understand why people putting those. It's
It's
just
really, it's a false economy for a start, really. But if someone wants to put it on their own car, then fair enough, that's their choice. But I think if you're putting it on a car for someone else, then yeah,
Yeah.
just get the budget tires. And again, try and strike up a relationship with a tire shop. Let them know that you're going to be buying a few cars once in a while, and they might knock a fiver off per tire. It might not be a lot to start, but build a good relationship with them, and then they're going to want to help you out when you come in.
and last thing, if you don't mind,
Go on.
is how, like, for example, if I go and like not upgrade, is like I wanted to sell 10 cars next 3 months or 6 months time. Is it wise to get a card reader accepting customers?
No.
Try and avoid it if you can.
Yeah. Just another expense.
Yeah, it's another expense. I think people are going to understand that if you're at home trading, bank transfer. Yeah.
Will it beneficial? Like if is customer attract with this kind of thing?
It might attract more customers, but they'll be the wrong customers.
Yeah.
All right.
People
the
who want to
ones-
pay on a
yeah.
credit card and they're hoping that they can whip the money back, or it opens up a lot of problems for you. So I would stick with bank transfer if you can.
Yeah.
I can send you the details of Global Charge, who we use for bank transfer things. So you get they do it through their own banking app, so it feels a bit more professional. Yeah, I would hold off until it's cost you a couple of deals in 1 month. Well, we've got the card machine, but we'll try and get everyone to do it.
Mate, I'm trying to get rid of my card machine.
Yeah,
I really am. I think
my
it's,
bill must be 250 quid to
yeah,
500 quid every month.
exactly. So that Global Charge, how much do they charge for doing the bank transfers?
It's like credit card style type fee, so it's similar. But obviously you get the money like instantly.
Instantly, yeah.
And
Yeah. I see what
you
mean.
and James would get text messages to say it's been paid.
Yeah.
They've used their own like phone bank login data and all that, not data, like security stuff. I'll send you the link. You can speak to them. I'm sure they do you a good deal, seeing as you're a celebrity
Yeah.
now.
I'm sure about that, like.
Yeah. There should be quite a lot to go on there, Mohammed.
Yeah. Some good
It's another
advice
one
there,
coming
mate.
up. It's like I'm craving for asking.
Yeah. Well, if you've got, we're getting on, and Dave's got to get all the way back to Newcastle yet. So if you've got more, email them to me, and I will drop you a reply. We've got a Facebook group for Motor Trade Mentors. Anyone who's been on the podcast as well. So we'll look for that on Facebook, Motor Trade Mentors, and you can join in there, and then everyone can kind of give each other advice as well. We might
Okay.
open that up to more people. We were just discussing this, but we'll see how it goes for now. Other than that, I wish you the best of luck. I would ask you where everyone can find you, but you obviously haven't got your sort of Facebook page or anything like that set up just yet. But
No.
maybe drop us a message again in 6 months, and you can tell us how many cars you've sold in that month.
Yeah, hopefully it's a positive way, not the negative way.
No,
I look
not
forward.
hopefully, Mohammed.
It will be.
Don't say hopefully. It will be.
Yeah.
Oh, thank you. Thanks.
No worries. All right.
Bye
Thanks so much,
there.
Mohammed.
Okay, nice to meet you, all of you.
Yeah.
It's really pleasure to meet wonderful people.
Oh, thank you.
Thank you. Likewise.